Joining me now is the perfect person to have this discussion, the Democratic Congressman Eugene Vindman of Virginia. He's a member of the Armed Services Committee. He is a retired Army colonel. Congressman, great to see you. Thank you for being with us.
Great to see you.
I don't know where to even start with this. There's so much there. So let's start at the end. Russia, by lifting these sanctions, in theory, lifting the sanctions puts more oil on the world stage and brings oil prices down. A, that hasn't worked. B, Russia is getting more money per day than Ukraine gets from all of the West in its attempt to fight the war now, because Russia is minting money off all this oil it's selling. This doesn't work in our interest.
No, it doesn't. Look, this administration is winging it.
Yes.
It sounds pretty bad because it is. I don't think they have a plan. They certainly don't know the consequences of their actions. So they think the consequences of giving the Russians $150 million extra dollars a day will lower cost of oil and gas for the American people.
Yeah, but it's not having that effect.
It's not. And the same thing with the Iranians. I mean, giving the Iranians more money, a country that we're currently at war with, to lower costs for the American people, that just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So this administration doesn't have a plan. They don't know what they want to achieve. They don't know whether it's regime change or unconditional surrender or elimination of their nuclear program.
Right.
And
all of which could be interesting and should be discussed with you in Congress as our representatives to say, hey, OK, that goal is worth American lives or it's not worth American lives. But you were at the dignified transfer of those soldiers who came back. They've lost their lives and their families don't yet have a clear answer as to why.
Why and how long and what we're looking to achieve. As I watched the caskets go by with the president literally just feet in front of me, I kept wondering to myself, when will this end? What is the purpose of this mission? We're expending $1 billion a day. We lost 13 soldiers, over 200 wounded. And each one of these casualties has a mother, brother, father, son.
Right.
I met all the families. Young children that don't have a parent. And right now, the American people have no idea why, no confidence that the leadership of this administration knows what they're doing. And frankly, it's chaos.
So Mike Johnson said this isn't a war. Now, this is a little trick people use all the time. Vladimir Putin's actually using that trick in Ukraine, right? You can't call it a war. You will actually go to jail in Russia for referring to their excursion into Ukraine as a war. Vietnam was never a war. It was a police action. This is nonsensical to most Americans. When you send soldiers out or sailors or airmen and they die in a conflict, whether Mike Johnson calls it a war and wants or doesn't want Congress to approve it is not a real thing to most people.
Absolutely. Look, I will tell you, Mike Johnson has a problem. You saw the commentary by Lauren Boebert.
Yep. She's not the only one.
Not the only one. In fact, I've had conversations with Republicans in private that have told me that boots on the ground is a red line for them. Now, whether they follow through on that, obviously, is a real question.
Well, that's always the issue with this Republican conference, right?
It is.
People say things, and then once in a blue moon on the Epstein files, they happen to. James Comer happens to. Rand Paul does, but that's because he doesn't think we should be involved in these things, so he's pretty consistent. But the rump of Republicans go along with Donald Trump.
They do, because they're scared. But also, they don't know what it means to hold the president accountable. This president, right now, is conducting, this is the 8th conflict that he's involved the United States in just the last 14 months.
9 if you count Iran twice.
Correct.
Because there was last June when he apparently obliterated their nuclear program so as not to have to get involved in this again. So what was it? Was he lying then or is he lying now?
I think he was lying both times, actually. And what he did, what we know he clearly lied about, was that he was not going to involve us in Middle East conflicts.
Right.
He is doing that right now.
Specifically said that.
Exactly. And he said he was going to concentrate on lowering costs for the American people. That is absolutely not the case. In fact, this war has spiked gas prices for the American people. Farmers right now in planting season are paying more for fertilizer.
Yeah, let's be clear about that. We think it's oil and gas, and it is mostly oil and gas that goes through the Strait of Hormuz. But a lot of fertilizer, chemicals and fertilizer, go through there as well.
Absolutely. And I sit on the Agriculture Committee in addition to Armed Services. And so I know that after the war in Ukraine started, the input costs, fertilizer costs, increased for farmers. And now, on top of that, the president started a new conflict, spiking fertilizer costs by another 50%. guess what? The American people are going to see that at the grocery store. And so the president's promises of focusing on affordability, costs, that was clearly a lie. The president's promise of not getting involved in the Middle East conflict, another one, that's a lie. And the prospects right now are not great for where this ends and how much more blood and American treasure is expended for this conflict.
You lost a constituent, by the way, in this war, but you've got agriculture in your district.
I do.
Everybody who drives a car is paying more for gas. You're going to pay more for everything that comes from a farm because they need diesel and they need fertilizer, both of which are costing more. They're being hit by tariffs. Their goods have to be transported by truck, and everything else you buy that comes from UPS or whatever the case is goes up. So you're getting hit far more times. You may think the gas prices are high and that's affecting you, but the average American's getting hit on many, many different levels.
Absolutely. And so you're seeing it at the grocery store, you're seeing it at the gas pump, and you're also seeing it in your 401k. I mean, the market is obviously tanking because there is no confidence.
All the gains from this year are gone.
Exactly.
On the stock market. We're negative for the year.
And because the confidence in this administration being able to manage this conflict is quickly evaporating. And the rest of the world, and certainly our European partners, and frankly our adversaries, are seeing what's going on. And it's not a great situation.
Well, we've moved all of our assets out of Southeast Asia and East Asia. So, the Chinese are sitting there saying, hey, that's interesting. All your aircraft carriers are gone from here. There's a lot that can go wrong here.
The Chinese and the Russians are happy.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
Nice to see you in person. Thank you for being with us.